So imagine your teenager me, going through the motions and being an omega weeb, watching all of the animes and reading all of the mangas. Then suddenly I came across this free written game called Osu, where you can play to the tune of your favorite anime theme songs. While browsing what songs I can put in my Osu library, we came across this particular song, Bad Apple, Touhou. What anime is that, you ask? After seeing that absolute banger of a music video, I am suddenly overcame with this fervor to know more about this Touhou project. Finally, my unknown journey to this rabbit hole starts when I type in the Google search bar, Touhou Project Anime. So yeah, welcome to an episode of Touhou's. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I'll take you to a series that is near and dear to my heart. From what started as a humble series of shmups, slowly but surely evolved to a big community full of creative fan works. And I ate up everything Touhou related during my teen years. Fan videos, fan music arrangements, memes, and doujinshis, you name it. I even once seasoned the actual shmup games and cleared the extra bosses up until double dealing character, that is. Even my name, Komokan Cafe, is named after my favorite Touhou group, the Scarlet Devil Mansion crew. And it all started because of this humble alcoholic and his lenient fan work policy. My guy basically said, "Go nuts, my dudes," to the fan works. So yeah, I thought I could end 2025 with how it all started for me by yapping about my 3 favorite Touhou fan games. I'll be revisiting these classics and see if they live up to being my favorites, or I was just wearing rose-tinted glasses at that time and the games are actually dog shit. So grab some hot cocoa, cookies, and whatnot, sit down with your boy, and go on a trip to memory lane, starting with... So when it comes to Castlevania, I'm not the most knowledgeable of the series, but I'm certainly confident in my knowledge of Touhou. Actually speaking, I'm out of the loop when it comes to the new ones, so scratch that, I guess. I'm certainly confident in my knowledge of Touhou to a specific point. It just so happens Komajo Remilia, aka Komaden, aka Touhouvania, is a Touhou fan game that is tailored to be like Castlevania, except it has much more Danmakus. While there have been recent better choices of Metroidvania Touhou fan games, this one stuck with me because of the sick designs of the Touhou cast. I really love the design so much that I even bought a figure of Komaden Remilia from a long time ago. That said, the version I'm playing on Steam is a remastered version and comes with full voice acting by A-list seiyus Rina Sata, Eric Kitamura, Aoyuki, and my favorite, Sawashiro Miyuki. As for the music, they're a wonderful blend of Touhou music mixing with Castlevania tracks. If you're a fan of either series, it would be a pleasant experience for your ears. Finding fun of the gameplay is your standard Castlevania experience. You play as Reimu, who fight like a Belmont in this game. You have the classic whip, talisman projectiles, sliding, and infinite flying, which you can use to cheese your way to stages. So with those tools, I can start my revisitation of this game. The gist of this story is Reimu is mad that those stinking Scarlet Devil kids built a new Scarlet Devil castle and blocked up the sun. So Reimu went to storm the castle and file a complaint against our resident vampire Loli Ojo-sama. Start off the game fighting off frogs, birds, and sentient snowballs. Of course, like the gamer that I am, I got to the boss area with 0 deaths. Something I forgot to mention is this game can be hard if you're not too familiar with Touhou's style of dodging rain. A bit of a humble brag, but I used to speedrun this game. I find questioning my past self with a solid, how in the world did I speedrun this, man? So yeah, it's not showing right now in the early stages, but in the later ones, oh boy, you guys are in for a treat. Anyways, I meet the first boss, the meme machine herself, the strongest ice fairy, Chirno, voiced by the lovely Aoyuki, which is a perfect fit by the by. It's like my close second favorite seiyu. Just listen to this perfect Chirno voice. Anywho, the gist of the story is Marius attacks along and bullies Chirno together with Reimu because she's so bullyable, I guess. As for the fight itself, the game introduced the partner assist system where I can call friends to do stuff for me, with Marissa being my first one. This fight is simple enough. Usually the bosses have 2 attack patterns and a spell card, but Chirno has 1 attack and 1 spell card, and that being Perfect Freeze. At least, I think it's Perfect Freeze. I died like once cause, of course, I would only get beaten by the strongest. You know how the saying with the youth goes, game meets game. Other than that, I breeze my way through this boss. Breeze. After that, Marissa and Reimu gaslights the beloved tomboyish girl into joining their party. These two menaces can't keep getting away with the bullying, man. Yukari, Kasten, anyone, apprehend these criminals. At least they acknowledge she's the strongest and we got her as a partner. The issue was a lot of mob spamming, especially these little frogs. Dreaming me was so keen to kill these frogs that it's out of range for some reason, but I got through the stage with no hits taken by literally just flying over everything. Then we meet the second boss, my favorite soul girl, my waifu, Hong Mei Ling, the best girl. If anyone says otherwise, they're wrong. Raven and Marissa ever the menaces, for Gore who best girl is. The audacity, man. I cannot stand for this best girl bullying, man. Bullying aside, her fight is pretty easy. Her bullet patterns are fairly easy to memorize. She sometimes summons fairy maids and of course being a martial artist, does a flying kick to my face. On a side note, her Danmaku is so colorful. It's like I've fallen in love again. Beating her is easy, especially after I have the strongest partner, Cherno. She may be a nice fairy, but she melts down boss's health bar real fast. After beating her, they changed the kanji of her name or something because it was so hard to read, apparently. Someday, these menaces will be apprehended and by Kanako, that will be a glorious day. On to stage 3, this is where the game picks up the pace. You have axe fairy, sword fairies, skeletons, and bats. And the biggest threat, one spiky boy. That one-shots me, dude. Some attacks deals a huge chunk of damage even on normal difficulty. Couple that with having a fast invincibility frame, you can get wombo combo to death pretty easily. After a couple of deaths, I get to the third boss, the loyal dog of the Scarlet Devil, Sakuya, who's rocking the football referee drip. You're gonna show a yellow card and red cards instead of knives with this fit on. More importantly, she's voiced by my favorite JP Seiyu, Sawashi Miyuki. Sakuya, being the perfect maid that she is out here to clean up the trash in the castle. Trash being Raymond gang, that is. Her attacks are a lot of knives, of course, with a lot of misdirecting. I managed to win by spamming Cherno and just brute forcing my way through, honestly. With that, Sakuya retreats for now after a bit of bantering with Raymond gang. Stage 4 is nothing special, honestly, with new enemies being headless dolls, poopy mannequins, teleporting mages, and this spear fairy that wants to give me hemorrhage for some reason. Now we're arrived at the fourth boss, the doll master herself, Alice. Let me tell you, I'm sure that whoever wrote the script is a big Marissa Alice shipper. I'm more of a Marissa Patchouli man myself, but each to their own. Her fight is easy enough since she mostly uses her dolls to attack for her. Alice yaps about being bullied and she and Marissa curse or something after the fight. Up next, we got stage 5, the Colosseum, the toughest stage ever yet. They have these guillotine things and these fairies and minotaurs that are too much of a hassle to kill because of how many hits they can take or how hard it is to hit them actually. It's pretty hard not to lose a life or two in this stage when going through the first time. After that grueling stage, I meet the Japanese Goborin, Watermelon. In typical Suika fashion, she comes out already plastered.
Oh, you're not dead.
Also, her fit looks like she's gonna go attend a simple metal band concert or something. Her attacks involves throwing the Triforce at you and making bullets explode. Her big spell card, literally, makes her gigantic and explode bullets all over the place. Also, she is invincible during this, so it can be quite a pain in the ass. I remember when I was speedrunning this game, I can actually kill her in one rotation before she gigantifies herself. In which I try to do, but these old bones are a bit rusty after all. Eventually, I beat her up until she's sober again, then she joins the party, which is an exclusive in this remake, by the way. But I'm gonna be honest, her skill is pretty useless. Proceeding on the 6th stage, we have the Boile? Anyways, the Magic Library. This stage is so cramped, like I could easily get hit by a stray bullet. There's these annoying monkeys that makes me want to go Frieza mode, and a streamer's worst nightmare, raiding. Marissa works well with clearing out these guys with her AoE attack, but yeah, of course, this being the Magic Library, the boss would be everyone's favorite shut-in asthmatic purple magician, Patchouli. Patchy, ever the being good bestie to Remelia, won't let Raymond gang through, and also because she wants to stop Marissa borrowing some books. For her fight, her attacks involve a lot of summoning books. Like Alice, these things are easy to destroy. The troublesome part is the spell card, where she throws Rainbow Danmaku at you. Whenever she uses this spell card, I usually just fight the dust. And it was honestly by sheer luck and Cherno spamming that I managed to barely beat her with a sliver of health. I'm gonna get hit. Oh! Let's go, I'm gaming! Now we get to basically the last stage, and by far the prettiest looking, with clockwork aesthetics and a beautiful moon backdrop. What a terrible night for a curse. Also, the music for this stage bangs hard. It's literally bloody tears but Touhou. But of course, the game doesn't let up on bringing out the worst it can offer. From these skeleton knights that it can take forever to kill, spikes, and spinning spikes, it can feel forever just to complete the stage. Anyways, for the second last boss, we have Perfect Maid back at it again. Her attacks are the same-ish, but now she also throws this homing sword at you. She also have this new spell card where she fills the screen with swords. I had to take a couple tries to beat her, but the worst part is I have to start from the stage all over again when I get a game over. Eventually, I beat her and I arrive at the final boss, the vampire Ojo Summer herself, Vermilion Scarlet, voiced by the legendary Eri Kitamura. TLDR, her reason for building this castle and blocking out the sun was because she was so bored and wanted to end the world. Typical Touhou last boss reasoning, am I right? Her first phase is easy enough. You can exploit going behind her, bypassing most of her attacks, and spank her vampire lollibot. Her second phase is basically calling her goons to jump Reimu. It's basically a boss rush, but thankfully they're weaker versions and the game was kind enough to provide you food to replenish some health. Then we get to her last phase where she goes batshit insane. She basically spams a lot of Gungnir's and fills the screen with lasers. Of course, I have to give it a few college tries before finally beating her. At the end of it, I unlocked my long dormant Danmaku skills that was locked away for years. From then, everything was smooth sailing, with a last life to boot even. The ending is in typical Touhou fashion, ended in a tea party, and the incident was a big nothing burger. Turns out Remelia wanted to find treasure, and the ancient tome that she had that'll end the world was actually just a treasure hunting magazine. Adorable. I like this ending art base, which is a big whiplash from the serious looking Castlevania art style from the game. So was this game was as good as I remember it to be? Kinda, yeah. It was shorter than I thought and a bit expensive price for how short it is, which is what the majority of complaints comes from. And I understand that. 2k yenis for this game is a bit steep for a remake that barely changes anything except adding some voice acting, especially in this day and age where everything keeps getting more and more expensive and our wages are just staying the same. So I really cannot justify the price for it. Maybe wait for a sale or two. I know I did. Other than that, I enjoyed revisiting this game again, even with all of its flaws that will be improved in the second game. Komajo Remelia DOS. Rolling from the success of the first game, the second game improves on the formula of the first game. Smoother gameplay, cooler enemy designs, even more banger music, and more Touhous with the sickest drifts. I also appreciate they have different expressions now as opposed to the first game having a still image and only having like sweat tears or squiggly lines to display emotions. Of course, with a higher budget now, they even managed to hire A-list seiyus, back when the first game didn't have voice acting, that is. In this game, you play as Sakuya, that plays much more like Alucard from Castlevania as opposed to the Belmont style Reimu was. I gotta say, Sakuya's style is much more smoother than Reimu's more rigid movements. It's a bit harder to get used to, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty fun to play with. You get a new energy mechanic where certain actions, including flying, consumes this to use. You can have 3 items or partners to choose from in the beginning of each stage. I start with her knife throwing and her clock, which activates Zawardo, although it doesn't work on bosses sadly. Anywho, getting to it real quick, her story starts with her doing maid stuff when suddenly she's visited by the Gap Hag. This hag is so obsessed with gaps that she even has gaps in her bosoms. Anyway, the dialogue is basically Yukari telling Sakuya the grave news of someone kidnapped everyone in the Scarlet Devil group and also even stole Spring. Don't worry, Yukari, Spring is becoming summer in the real world even, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. Now Sakuya has to investigate the incident, and this is where I start stage 1. I gotta say, this seems to be a lot of stuff thrown in for stage 1. You get sentient vines, leafy girls, and wall skeletons, but of course it's no problem for gamer god like me. Afterwards, Sakuya discovered the Scarlet Devil Castle is back and Best Girl is tied up. It just so happens a certain doll master waltzed by and Sakuya decided to jump her just because. Her fight is basically the same as the first game, which is easy enough. I also love how the bullets look more like the original Shmup series bullets. Once that's done, we save Mei-Ling and Alice scurries off. Now I have the best support partner. For stage 2, I get inside the castle. We get returning enemies and new enemies in the form of these these zombies, archer fairy maids, floating sword dudes, and living armors. The sprite work feels so much more animated, and they have more small details on them, like the sword fairies having gauntlets on them now. It's the little things in life that really keeps you going, man. There's this cool chase sequence with this giant guy. If you get caught by these hands, they send you back to him. I then meet the second boss, the Honk Master herself, Chen! For most of her fight, her attacks involves a lot of her signature spinning. Good thing I have the secret weapon, Hong Mailing, to make this fight easy. Afterwards, Sakuya used a foxtail to distract her. After seeing Chen acting adorably with the foxtail, I proceed to the third stage. I go to the underground for this stage. The vast majority of the enemies of this stage are spirit-like yokais, fire wheel dude, gargoyle guy, janitor fellow, and of course, ghosts. This stage is also basically a water level that houses these mutated snap turtles. Maybe they're like Genji's distant cousins or something. Right before the boss area, we have to hitch a ride from the local Uber driver. From how slow she's rowing, I might have to give her a scalding rating of 1 star, man. Now for the third boss. It's the 2020 Touhou Popularity Poll winner, Yomu. The dialogue was honestly just a yeah fest, yada yada yada. I think they were just talking about how they want to appear more in the main games as playable characters. Anyways, her boss fight is pretty cool with swordplay incorporated in. It was a bit tricky at first, but eventually I took her and her mochi down by mastering the art of standing still and leaving it to Mailing to finish the job. Good job, Mailing.
Yeah, Mailing.
Yeah, let's go, Mailing! Stage 4, I revisit their magic library again. The monkeys and the books makes a comeback. There's these new enemies, including this lich that summons mud golems and dies if the lich is defeated, and this ghost summoning skeleton. This stage was a breeze to get through, and we meet the fourth boss, the ordinary mage herself, Marissa, who's looking very Van Helsing than the last game, man. She's out here running with stakes or something. We helped Pachi out, who's having an asthma attack. Marissa even borrowed her inhaler too or something. For her boss fight, Marissa being Marissa, attacks with a lot of lasers and stars. Her boss fight was decent enough that I beat her in my first try. I know, hold your applause. So after that fight, Marissa said it was just a prank and gave Pachi her inhaler back. Sakuya decided to invite Marissa to the party, but she declined because she wanted to borrow some of the books, much to Pachi's chagrin. Instead, we get Pachi added to the party. Oh, and also Alice got roped in too. These two are actually the best supports in the game, next to Mei Ling, of course. Pachi gives you a circle of books that damages enemies and destroys destructible projectiles, while Alice uses her dolls to carpet bomb everything. Anyways, for the fifth stage, I revisit the Colosseum. There's these two new skeleton enemies, including a spicy doggo one. The Minotaurs and Furries makes a comeback. Then there's these homunculi dudes that's straight out of the Baki universe. There's also this elevator section which follows the common trope. After that, the fifth boss show herself. It's the eternally poor Shrine Maiden. Her boss fight is like fighting a player from the first game, with her biggest attack being her signature move, Fantasy Seal, which moves at light speed and hits like a goddamn truck. Thankfully, with my two new broken assists, she was easy peasy. Turns out she was only pretending to be the mastermind. She was actually hired by Ran. I guess she's not getting money much from donations or something. Reason being, she was bored out of her gourd, which seems to be a recurring theme in these games. She then joins the band. Her assist sends out these yin-yang balls that hits like a truck. Next up, we have stage 6, another revisit. It's Sakuya's own stage, with a lot more diverse aesthetics. Some old enemies makes a comeback, especially these spiky boys, but also this cool floating spirit knight dude and this golem that acts like a mini boss. I arrive at the 6th boss area and goddamn does it look beautiful. With a ghost cherry blossom tree and a red moon background, it's chef's kiss. And for the boss herself, it's the fluffy-tailed QB herself, voiced by the woman with the husky voice, Kobayashi Yu. To stall for time, she blocks the perfect maid. She fights like how she is from her extra stage in Perfect Cherry Blossom, throwing kunais and bullets and summoning Shen. Her spell card forces me to stay at this circle, which was kinda hard to understand. After a few tries, I do eventually beat her, then Ran gets sucker punch from Flandre atop the turnbuckle. Flandre being Flandre, batshit insane. But luckily, Reimu redirects her bloodlust towards others. And with that, I got my last partner. She does a massive screen covering AoE attack which one-shots most enemies. We get to the penultimate stage where we can climb the giant Sakura tree. At this point, the game is throwing everything at me, including these new tree dryads and Valkyrie fairy maids that blocks attacks. Luckily, Patchy is an easy cheese for these guys. I get to the top of the tree and meet the second last boss, the eternally hungry ghost, Yuyuko. He was watering the giant Sakura tree, and it just so happens Sakuya and gang are the perfect fertilizer. Her attacks are a pain to deal with as they mostly fill the screen. It also doesn't help that these goddamn butterflies are hard to see and takes a chunk out of my HP. Also, Sakuya doesn't get recoiled or anything from getting hit with these butterflies. They just rapidly drain my HP. I didn't even knew I was getting hit until I hear the Sakuya hurt sound. I even got a game over, so I have to redo the stage all over again, which was absolutely lovely. I finally managed to beat her after having her attack pattern beaten on my head. After putting her down, she revealed the tree fully bloomed, and with all the spirits it went to Vermilia, which takes us to the final boss, the Charisma Devil herself again. We find her atop a throne doing the Castlevania thing. Now she's drunk with the power of the spirits or something. It's up to the perfect maid to stop her berserk mistress. For her first phase, she basically fights the same in the first game, with her new move being grabbing Sakuya and sucking her blood. Oh yeah, the fanfics are going crazy with this one. Her second phase-ish is fighting the Gap Hag herself. She summons a lot of gaps to fire lasers from within and summons her Shikigami to jump Sakuya. Good thing I have the perfect counter, that is the Chinese girl Hong Meiling. Finally, on the final phase, she does her best Dracula final form impression, with Sakuya starting the fight with the badass line and her signature red eyes. Let's go. Her attacks are simply put bullet hell. Sorry if you guys were expecting an eloquent description, but bullet hell just fits the bill to a T, honestly. It took me a few deaths before I can finally see how her pattern works. In the end, after fighting to the death, they have a tea party and become homies. I think they don't even explain why they caused the incident in the first place other than they were bored. But yeah, the second game was a real fun experience and a real blast from the past. Maybe one day I'll relearn the speedrun for funsies. For now, this is where I close the book on the Komajo Remilia series. There's still the extra stages, but I honestly don't want to bother with that for now and make the video longer than it is. Maybe I'll babble about it in a short video or something in the future. Although I did do the extra stage for this last game, and that is Scarlet Curiosity, aka Kokishin, aka That Remy game. It's a Touhou fan game that's modeled after the YS series, featuring the Scarlet Devil and her perfect maid. Even though Sakuya is playable, I honestly see this as more of a Remilia game, as it's more fitting, especially when it comes to the last boss. It is called That Remy game after all. Remilia even makes for various fun speedruns, which I would like to mention. I was a world record holder holding on for 5 years. Safe to say I'm a bit washed up now. Just a bit. I used to be a world record holder in Scarlet Curiosity back in the day. That's great, uncle. Now let's get your medicine. Maybe playing the game will unlock the long lock gamer gates. The way I played this game was casual with a mix of trying to remember my speedrun strats. Anyways, the story starts off with Remilia as usual being bored and heading to bed in the morning, cause morning is bedtime for good vampires. Once she wakes up, she notices her maid is gone and reads all the newspaper like the auntie that she is. With nothing better to do, she decides to take a stroll to the lake and check out if these articles are true. Like the action-starved vampire that she is, she goes on a rampage, taking down any sorry yokai that's in her path. Get into the gameplay, it plays like any YS games. Although I'm ashamed to admit this, I haven't touched the series yet. I can equip up to 3 skills, with the last one being a spell card for a lot of damage. The starter skills is the spin move, which is the most broken move in the game, Mini Gungnir, and this change spell card. My muscle memory instantly activated and start getting to dive dashing. Remilia has this move where attacking midair performs this dive move. This move and the spin attack is basically the bread and butter of speedrunners. When it comes to the graphics, they did a great job capturing how Gensokyo looks in 3D, and the artwork sprites are great. Anyways, I get to schmoving around the lake and get to the first boss, Luna Child, one of the trio of prankster fairies. Turns out Luna Child was looking into the same news article subject Remy was looking for. Remy, being the menace that she is, beats up Luna Child. There's definitely gonna be a new article for Aya to to eat up, man. Local vampire auntie beats up parent child. More at 9. Anyways, the boss fight is pretty easy. It's mostly just me remembering the attack patterns. Attacks with simple patterns, which in this game I can erase Danmaku with melee attacks. She also does this headbutt attack as some sort of last-ditch effort to attack, I guess. After finally getting a workout, suddenly the Scarlet Devil Mansion was attacked. I meet up with Best Girl and Patchy. Apparently they couldn't identify the mysterious attacker, only that they were a gigantic figure. Now the game is afoot. Remilla sets out to apprehend this mysterious demolisher of her house. I go to Genbu Ravine first. And holy moly, I forgot how beautiful the graphics were in this game. Touhou fan creators really go hard at making stuff, man. Swear to God. The boss for this stage is another one of the fair trio, Star Sapphire. Like Luna Child, she's an easy fight. Also like Luna Child, Remy decided to interrogate her Christian Bale Batman style. This fight was even easy now that I'm slowly remembering how to do the spin attack combo stun lock. Although it did took a while to take her down because I'm under leveled and under equipped. Did I mention there's level stats and equipment in this game? We also forget about it and learn to pay the price later on, believe me. Anyways, after beating her down, Remy retrieves a key to the basement to her mansion from Star. After that, I went to the Bamboo Forest of the Lost to investigate an article about Whisk guiding people who are lost. True to its name, the map isn't available for this place. Normally, you have to activate the Whisk to guide you where to go. Of course, for me, an ex-world record holder, I would remember the way. At the end of the stage is Wriggle, the cute bug yokai. Remy decided to stomp her like the bug that she is. Of course, being a bug yokai, she summons bugs to attack and also does a rider kick attack. So obviously the stage 1 boss is no match for the stage 6 monster. Apparently Wriggle was the one controlling those so-called wisps. The wisps were actually bugs after all, guiding the way. Wriggle with her insect network provided Remy with some info. Next up, I go to the human village that's apparently preparing for a sort of festival. While looking for a maid, Remy encountered Moku, the boss for the stage. Moko thinks she's the mastermind behind the article since it mentioned unbred miss, so she gets to throwing hands. This is where I felt the struggle of being underleveled. It took me a few tries before I could take down this hothead. After cooling her head down, Remy heads out to sue the Tengu newspaper for defamation. Next stop is Waterfall 9 Heavens. Unfortunately, the Tengu newspaper is closed at night, so Remy heads home for now. She talks with Patchy about where her missing maid is, and apparently there's a basement to her mansion not even she is aware of. So I get to investigate this basement. I'm going to be honest, this is one of the more boring stages designs in this game. Each floor is identical and not much to write home. And oh boy, I will see more of this identical looking levels in the future. For now, I found the lost dog that is holding more articles. Afterwards, for Remy to investigate more, she needs to head out to daylight, which, you know, vampires are allergic to. So she heads out to the soul shop that could remove the main weakness of vampires, Corindo. Turns out Rinosuke have the perfect item, a fucking literal SPF 100 sunscreen. As a bonus, he even throws in a waterproof spray. Now Remy can finally take a shower. Why not just throw in anti-holy weapon armor while you're at it, Rinosuke, my guy. But yeah, Corindo basically acts as a shop for equipment. Did I mention there's also money in this game? Anywho, I go back to the waterfalls and lo and behold, the sunscreen works. Now that she has conquered a vampire's major weaknesses, she has become the ultimate life form. Is that a JoJo? The stage houses a speedrunner's weakness. Platforms I have to be careful of. I honestly hate being careful. Why can't I just headbutt dive my way through? I'm too impatient for this. Moving small platforms and bridges, one drop in it, it's all over. Once I get to the top, I meet the next boss. Remy, hoping to file a complaint against the Tengu newspaper, encountered the Japanese goblin. Suika offered Remy to be a punching bag for, to which Remy happily agreed. This fight was pretty easy once she gets stunned knocked to death. After beating her, Suika told Remy if she wants to take down the culprit, she needs to get stronger than she is. Then we finally meet with Aya, with Remy filing a scalding complaint at her. They proceed to info dump, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. Then we head to the Forest of Magic next. This stage is also one of the stages that doesn't have a map. It also houses annoying platforming, although with my picture perfect memory, I get to the boss area in world record pace. No, I was wrong. Of course, the boss is the blonde doll master Alice. Apparently, Alice does admit she has a big doll, but it's not suited for combat. Remilla thinks she's hiding something, and ever the brute that she is, proceeds to persuade her with physical force. Luckily, I managed to beat her in the first try like the ex-world record holder that I am. Turns out she really is telling the truth, and even the giant doll that she has wouldn't be able to beat Patchy in mailing. Wait, a Touhou fanwork that's actually putting respect to mailing's name? Call me surprised. Must be a blue moon or, you know, a red moon. Next destination is going back to Genbu Ravine and meet our slithery boss. So this guy is apparently an ancient god or something. Must be Kanako's distant cousin or something. Or maybe uncle, auntie. It apparently just woke up and is now very hungry. And this bat just so happens to be in front of him. So a boss fight ensues. So this is one of the few boss fights that don't involve a Touhou girl. It's a OC do not steal, I guess. This guy pretty much likes spewing rocks and bullets. I can only attack him when it goes for a bite or snipe him with my spear. So I can do the stun lock thingy at this guy. It took me some time, but I managed to beat him with my first try. Next, I went to the fairy forest for, I don't know actually, because I accidentally skipped the beginning dialogue. Maybe Remilia's out to kick more fairy butt or something, and with the next boss she certainly will do. Meet Sunny Milk, the last of the fairy trio. Funny thing is, her power actually is a hard counter to Remilia, but unfortunately for her, she's wearing sunscreen right now. So anyway, some story exposition happened and they fight. Like the other two fairies, she's small side, maybe a bit tankier than the other two, but there was no problem for me. After the fairy bullying, I went to the Hakurai shrine to visit the local Miko of poverty. Remilia asked if she was gonna do something about this incident. Of course, Reimu said a firm and resounding nope. Although she did have some new articles for some info drop, Remilia sets out for the geyser to hell. Literally, she's just going to hell. But she gets stopped by the full fairy trio because of fairy bullying transgressions and gets jumped. They basically fight the same, except they're all together. I can even attack two of them at the same time if I time my attacks well. After beating the three of them, the ground suddenly collapses and now Remilia is in hell. Literally. This stage is my absolute favorite. Lava, traps, and just generally badass beautiful aesthetics. Anyways, Remilia gets a phone call from a three-eyed girl saying the elevator is clogged up, so she called her pet to fix it. So for now, Auntie Remilia has to find her three lost fairy children, which I did in breakneck pace. I only fell into the lava like one time. I don't think sunscreen can help you with that, Remy. After rescuing them, Satoru says her pet can finally help them get out of hell. Then I meet the pet. Surprise, surprise, she's the next boss. Utsuho, aka Oku, the adorable bird brain that has the power of the sun. The palm of her hand, literally. She was supposed to help Remy and the fairies back up to the surface, but ever the bird brain she is, forgot about it and the fight starts. I gotta say though, even though Remy has that sunscreen on, I don't think it would protect her from the face melting heat of a sun at point blank range. But that's just me. Anyways, this boss fight is very fun, man. Her spell card sucks or pushes me out like the gravitational force of an actual sun. The little details, man, I gotta love it. She also really loves bonking with her whacking stick hand. Also, listening to a nuclear fission remix is always a good jam. After the fight, Ever the Bird Brain, she forgot why they were even fighting. And Remy gaslit her into helping them up the surface. We finally get to Satoru's house that has this gigantic door. How do they even open this? Finally, we meet the three-eyed girl herself. Reading Remilia's mind, she figures Remy wants to tussle and so they get tussling. And tussle she did. She put up a better fight than a lot of the other bosses. For the uncultured, her main gimmick is copying other stuff. She actually counters my spin attacks with her own spin attack. Out here doing Beyblade. Her two spell card is Reimu's Quad Seal thingy and Marissa's Master Spark. Also, something I'm late mentioning, but there's also this glitch / bug that speedrunners use, myself included. Most of the bosses runs to the middle stage to use their spell cards. If you attack them before they activate it, it gets cancelled, which is big because they're invincible during it. This is the easiest to do with a Gungnir spell card because there's like this slow-mo thing that happens, but you can also do this by going to the middle and spamming spin attack, which is a bit harder to do. So yeah, by abusing this, made the boss much more easier to do. Finally, after besting her in combat, Remy enlists the help of the lie detector, cheating detective Satori, in interrogating the three fairies. Can't lie your way out of this, kiddos. After spilling the beans, it's finally revealed the lair of the mastermind is in Remy's backyard all along. The first was helping hiding it with their three powers, so I go back to where it all started, the Misty Lake. Arriving at the lair is apparently a high-tech underground factory built by the Kappa. So Auntie Remy sets out to file a complaint like the aunt that she is. The stage has cool futuristic aesthetics, saw blades, lasers, and a lot of enemy spamming. There's also a certain item that that you get here that gives me a skill, which will be very useful in the next boss fight, that boss being Giant Roboto. He's a Tensaku V2, piloted by Luigi and Nitori. Finally catching the culprit who wrecked her house, Remy gets to throwing hands. So that skill I mentioned before is Remy throwing multiple spears in random directions, which is the best for this giant boss. The main attack it uses is punching, Hassan chopping, and Giga drill breaking. So the strat to use here is tank these attacks and spam the skill for a lot of damage. But after beating the action figure, it turns out Sanai wasn't the culprit. It was Japanese Goblin after all. But yeah, it turns out she was the ruffian that smashed the Scarlet Devil mansion. She just used a loophole on the Oni Never Lies shtick, saying she wasn't the one behind the red mist thingy, but didn't deny all the other stuff about the other articles. Now for their final match between two lollies. The Eastern Demon versus the Western Devil. They're like cut from the same cloth or whatever the saying goes. This was really fun. Suika attacks with giant rocks and throwing hands. Of course her spell cards are gigantifying herself and sending out mini Suikas to jump Vermilia. First of all, the team is such a banger. It's an orchestral mix of Suika and Vermilia's team. Just have a listen for a minute or two. But yeah, overall fun final boss. With that, after beating her, Vermilion now enjoys her reward of playing in the festival in the human village with the rest of her crew. But that's not the true ending yet. So after a while, the devs put some additional content in the game in the form of an extra stage. And oh god, let me tell you, this extra stage was not a fun time, that's for sure. Everything about this stage is anti-speedrunner strats. There's always these doors where you have to stand still and open, but if you happen to get attacked during opening it gets cancelled and you have to do the whole thing all over again. So I'm forced to clear the whole room. Then you have the traps that burns and pulls me in. And worst of all is this scoundrel that gave me the most deaths in the whole game. More than any boss. And who is this scoundrel that gave me so much pain and misery? This goddamn spiky log. So who do you think will win? Stage 6 Ancient Vampire Queen or one Spiky Boy? These guys have a grudge on me or something because I'm a speedrunner. Well, ex-speedrunner. I feel like this is like a message from the devs. Speedrun through these things, you darn kids. Not only that, but remember what I said before? The layout of the stage feels so samey and repetitive. So it feels like I was losing my damn mind if I'm even progressing or not. And the developer had the audacity, the gall, to put in a cheeky Remy dialogue that the scenery is getting repetitive. So they're actually aware how samey the levels are. So yeah, these stages suck. After getting through that horrid experience, I fight a full-powered Pachi in this beautiful stage. Her fight wasn't bad as long as I get to stun lock her. She tries to break out of it with a wind spin, but she can't delay the inevitable. After playing with her best friend, Remy plays with Flan next. Of course with Flan, playing means a battle to the death, with a UNON remix blasting through my ears. Her Danmaku are lightning fast and really loves whacking and stab me with Lavatane. After that, Remy finally makes up with Flan and Flan goes back to sleeping. Then with that, I have to do the whole Suika fight again. This time, she has a lot more HP since I cleared the extra stage, but it was no problemo for me. So yeah, we have a different ending here with Suika not going down easily, and then she goes Kaiju mode to stomp on the rat. Bat. But luckily, Pachi and friends arrive in time with their own giant roboto. Hesa Tensaku MK2 Unit 02, aka Scarlet Curiosity. Get it? Scarlet Curiosity? Scarlet Curiosity? What a better way to battle a kaiju than with a giant robot made from the dreams of man. Only thing is, the rust bucket only threw one punch before going on the fritz. But that one punch is the only attack it needs to beat down Mega Watermelon. Honestly, I was a bit sad that it wasn't an actual fight with the player playing Soku vs Suika. But I guess the dev couldn't afford the budget or something. But with that, the day is saved. But Suika actually has one last attack, flash banging the player directly. Good art of her smiling though. Afterwards, we finally get to the true end, which is the same-ish except Mailing isn't here because she's escorting Flan to the festival. which was real sweet. But yeah, this game was always a fun time for me and it will always be my favorite Touhou fan game that features the Scarlet Devil ladies. Like the other two games, it will always have a special place in my heart. Anyways, with that, it's closing time, fellas. I had a fun time revisiting and making this video. I want to make more videos about Touhou in between larger projects I have in the future. Honestly, a lot happened in my life. I always felt like time stopped for me. I was just going through the motions and my early 20s just passed me by like a hurricane, wondering what the hell happened. I felt like I wasn't progressing at all on content creating with just streaming. It wasn't until I was actually diagnosed with ADHD by a psychiatrist that everything finally clicked for me. So for this year, I finally went to actually putting effort into making these videos, and although the process is painful for me, it's actually fun putting the time into learning about editing and putting my wacky ideas into life. Ended this year with Touhou to come full circle on how I started. But for next year, I'm going full throttle and maybe earn the right to call myself a creative down the line. Maybe I will quote unquote make it, or maybe I'll just fade to obscurity, or maybe I'll get struck down by the YouTube AI Terminators. Maybe that last one's probably gonna be the one that's gonna come true. But as long as I have fun making these videos, that's all that matters in the end, isn't it? Anyways, I'm rambling on too much. Thanks so much for watching, and if you like and subscribe for more epic content, that would be very lovely as always. Good night, have a happy Christmas, and see you next year.